All right. Today's video will be about obedience. Obedience is so important. It's a key, it's a vital thing for a relationship with Christ. Because the more we're obedient, the more we'll see Him, the more we'll get close to Him, the more we'll be able to experience Him, the more we'll be able to listen to Him. And I was in 2 Samuel, and I had just gotten to the fall of David, right? Where he fought for Bathsheba, lusted over Bathsheba, and committed adultery and murder, while in that same sense, all in that same timeline. And a lot of people seem to go past what caused all that. What was the root of it? A lot of people say that it was his eyes, right? He lusted over her. But it started before that. What he did was wrong, yes. Completely wrong. But it started before that. David was a man with a heart second to God's. That's not a small title at all. So we have to really understand what caused this great man to fall. So when we go into chapter 11, which is the fall of David, it says that he was in a war campaign. So kings were in a constant state of war, and their armies were out fighting. But David decided to stay at home. He had just came back from one of his campaigns, and he decided to stay at home. That was not his duty to do so. He was called to be out in the battle again. But he didn't want to. He chose to be disobedient. And we're going to see where that leads him. In the spring of the year, the time when kings go out to battle, David sent Joab and his servant with him, and all Israel, and they ravaged the Ammonites and besieged Rabbah, but David remained at Jerusalem. It happened late one afternoon, when David rose from his couch and was walking on the roof of the king's house, that he saw from the roof a woman bathing, and the woman was very beautiful. And David sent and inquired about the woman. And one said, "Is this not Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite?" So David sent messengers and took her, and she came to him, and he laid with her. Now she had been purifying herself from uncleanness. Then she returned to her house, and the woman conceived, and she sent and told David, "I am pregnant." That was a lot. That was a lot. Now, what led him to that? God-fearing man to do that. It was because he stopped looking at God. At the moment that he was disobedient, he didn't prioritize God over him. He prioritized his desires and his fleshly nature over him, over God. And at that moment, when he saw a beautiful woman at the roof, he didn't think a second thought. The first thought that should have came to his mind was God, was his commandments, was his love, his faithfulness to him. But no, he lusted over her because of his lack of obedience. By being disobedient, he put himself first, and that led him to sin. He would have never been in that predicament had he been at war, serving his purpose and duty as a king of Israel. But he chose not to. And as we go into chapter 12, we see that Nathan rebukes David. Nathan is the prophet that talked to David. So it says, "And the Lord sent Nathan to David, and he came to him and said to him, there were two men in a certain city, the one rich and the other poor. The rich man had very many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing but one little ewe lamb, which he had bought. And he brought it up, and it grew up with him and with his children. It used to eat of his morsel and drink from his cup, and lie in his arms. It was like a daughter to him. Now there came a traveler to the rich man, and he was unwilling to take one of his own flock or herds to prepare it for the guests who had come to him. But he took the poor man's lamb and prepared it for the men who had come to him. Then David's anger was greatly kindled against the man, and he said to Nathan, as the Lord lives, the man who has done this deserves to die. And he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity. Nathan said to David, you are the man. Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, I anointed you king over Israel, and I delivered you out of the hand of Saul. And I gave you your master's house and your master's wives into your arms, and gave you the house of Israel and of Judah. And if this were too little, I would add to you as much more. But why have you despised the word of the Lord, to do what is evil in his sight? You have struck down Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and have taken his wife to be your wife. And you have killed him with the sword of Ammonites. Now therefore the sword shall never depart from your house, because you have despised me, and have taken evil against you out of your own house. David's disobedience led him to commit 3 major things. He coveted a married woman. He committed adultery with her. And he murdered her husband. And in the past, and even in a recent present, I was struggling with lust a lot. I didn't understand. Why? Why, God? I say that I love you, but yet I do this disgusting thing. Yet I come back to my vomit like a dog. Why? What leads me to this? What is it? I don't understand. My words say something that my actions don't follow. Why is that? Lord, I want to do well by you. Why can't I? While reading Samuel, that's when God showed me it's been your lack of obedience. You want to cherry pick what you listen to and what you don't. That's why you get in predicaments where you were never supposed to be in, that lead you to sin. It's not that you're wretched. I've made you righteous, but you haven't been listening to me. So will you listen to me? Will you be obedient to me? Because I've already forgiven you so, but you want to get out of that. And the only way that you can is by being obedient. You claim that you want to stop, but your actions do not go along with that. Understand that I rather obedience over sacrifice. That opened my eyes. That really opened my eyes. It made so much sense. How blind had I been? It was obedience. From the very start, it was obedience. Guys, in Proverbs 9:10, it says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. Have we been fearful? Because if we have been fearful, we've been obedient. We will listen to the Father's voice. We won't ignore it. Delayed obedience is still disobedience. This is not to condemn. This is to open your eyes as He says, open my eyes too. There is a path. And that path is Jesus Christ. We have to remain obedient. It says the path is very tight. Not many will come through. But those who remain faithful to the end shall see it. Jesus saved me. He saved me from my wretched nature. I was dead and He gave me life. The moment that I lose sight of that, the moment that I stop looking at Him, that's where I fall. David's lack of obedience came from his lack of looking at the Father. He wasn't looking at the Father. He wasn't. That's what led him to that. We have to keep our eyes on Him. When Peter fell in the water, he didn't fall just because he was scared. He fell because he stopped looking at Jesus. He took his eyes out of Him. We have to understand that. We have to. Because He's the way, the truth, the life. No one comes to the Father if not by Him. So we have to keep our sights at Him. We have to remain obedient. We have to remain fearful, attentive to His voice. He doesn't want you to struggle. He doesn't want you to go through tribulation. He wants to be there for you 24/7, and He is. But when are you going to look His way? When are you going to stop looking at your own wretched self and you're going to look at Him? When are you going to stop to carry that weight that has been smashing you down for so long, squishing you, and look at Him and give it to Him? That unforgiveness that you're struggling with, when are you going to look at Him and give it to Him? That's what He wants. He came here to love you, to redeem you, to give you life. But yet you deny Him every day. I used to do that. And I have to remain fearful so I don't do that. I have to crucify my flesh daily. I have to pick up my cross daily. It's by Him. It's all by Him. I cannot do this alone. I don't have the strength. I'm a weak man. But He's strong, and in Him is my strength. David didn't defeat Goliath out of his own strength. No, not at all. David defeated Goliath because there was a God behind him. David defeated Goliath because there was a God fighting for him, protecting him, fighting his battles. And we have that same God. We do. Brothers and sisters, remember that. Remember, our God doesn't change. He's the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. He loves you deeply. He will never leave or forsake you. So keep your sight at Him. Get away from those distractions. TikTok, Instagram, even YouTube. Get away from that and just listen to Him. Don't let your thoughts get in the way of that. Your emotions, your feelings, they're evil. They're deceitful. But His word is the truth. Guys, the key point of this video is remain obedient. And that's what's going to get you out of that season that you cannot defeat lust. That season of that struggle. I said season in parentheses because truly it's just a struggle that you've been going on back and forth because you choose not to look at Him, to keep your sights at Him. I wouldn't even say it's a season. It's ignorance. So guys, just keep your sights at Him. Just keep your sights at Him. Why would you not? And once you do, that peace, that overcoming joy, overflowing joy comes to you and it lifts you. It makes you feel like a new man. It revives you, replenishes you, renews your mind. Men shall not live by bread alone. Man, I really wanted to bring that to y'all because it's something that truly God has spoken to me for so long. I hope that those who need to hear it, they will hear it. And I'm sure God will deliver this message to you if you do. God bless you. I have much love for y'all.